now, live from a safe physical distance away from you and from each other, here's your hosts, Alyssa Hildebrand and Nolan Kaler.
Hello, one and all, and welcome to How Can I Keep From Singing a No Gala Gala.
It is such a pleasure to be standing here on this beautiful stage in front of, absolutely no one.
What are you talking about? There's people here. Look, right here in the front row, we've got a whole bunch of smiling faces.
They're all a bunch of real stiffs.
And we're just getting started. My name is Nolan Kaler.
And my name is Alyssa Hildebrand. And we both graduated from MCI in the year 2012. How did we end up hosting this, you might ask? Well, it's actually kind of a long story.
No, it's not. It was my idea. My idea.
That's correct. It was Nolan's idea. So Nolan, would you like to tell our beautiful audience what you had in mind for the concert originally?
You mean aside from having their beautiful selves sitting in Buehler Hall? Well, I thought it might be a fun idea this year to get more of our MCI alumni involved in the spring fundraiser, specifically MCI's alumni artists.
And then you and I would also perform.
Well, if we had to. It's not like we're just making up gigs for ourselves so we can be busy as artists, right? Well, yes, I thought perhaps we could perform on the Buehler Hall stage once again. And maybe we could perform alongside an alumni choir.
Oh, Nolan, it was a lovely idea. But then we hit this tiny little snag, the global pandemic.
Oh, yeah, right. Well, not even a pandemic could stop us from sharing our art with you during this gala, and it certainly could not stop the MCI community coming together once again to support this marvelous school.
This fundraiser has become an opportunity for alumni to share art that they are truly passionate about. You are going to have the opportunity to hear and see from some amazing visual artists and musicians, all talented alumni of this amazing school.
In these challenging times, it's now more important than ever to continue coming together and supporting one another. And art is proving to be one of the greatest ways that we are supporting one another through these challenging days. And I know that this gala will make it all the more sweeter when we are able to come together again in song and in art when we are safely able to do so.
We are so proud to be from this school community. MCI has truly shaped us into the people that we have become. And we are thrilled to be helping to share the amazing artwork created by our fellow alumni. So please enjoy and consider donating. There'll be a link below.
I think it's time we got to our first artist submission, Alyssa. What do you say?
I think that's a wonderful idea. So this is how this is going to work.
Wait. I'm so sorry to interrupt, but before we get going, we have to settle something first.
What do we need to settle?
Well, there's one thing that every MCI fundraising host has had that we currently don't.
A really nice sweater vest?
No.
Oh, I know, a really long pitch about donations and the state of the school.
No. But speaking of that, this year, your donations will be going to help the MCI General Fund. For example, keeping the lights on here in Buehler Hall. But Alyssa, even that donation pitch is not what I was talking about. We're still missing something.
Well, Nolan, what are we missing?
We have to decide which one of us gets to use the MCI lectern.
The staple of the stage.
the star of the show.
Well, anyways, we're gonna go ahead and go right into our first submission. Each artist is going to introduce themselves and also the art that they're going to be sharing. And so I hope that you please enjoy the following artists. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Laura Welk, and I'm the designer behind Coronavirus, which is a zine. A zine is an independently published booklet. It's usually a one-off, and it's designed for a specific purpose. My purpose was to explore isolation. Being in isolation currently and knowing a lot of different people in isolation, I wanted to collaborate with them and see what their experiences are and ask them if they would tell a little bit of their story through poetry and creative writing. So I reached out to some of my hard-working family and some of my closest friends, and they said yes. And so here you have a creative project that is definitely a collaborative effort that I can't just be given all the credit to. But anyway, so it gives me a lot of hope to see such a project come together. It gives me hope that creative endeavors such as this are needed more than ever right now for people to get their story out there and to be heard, as we feel very distant from one another these days. And I have so much joy for this project. It's a project that came about really suddenly and really fast, but people have been reaching out to me because they've been touched by it, and I've been so grateful that these stories are being able to be heard and accepted, and people have become to appreciate those on the front line or those unemployed, those needing to make their grocery store trips every week, whoever it might be. I've been so blessed that people have been touched by the stories in it. And I just hope that it inspires you to become creative, to use your artistic gifts in whatever way that looks like, to collaborate with others, even from afar, because it's so worth it and you get to hear so many different stories. I hope that it touches you like this project touched me as I was making it and has touched so many others. And I just wish I could show everyone in person what this thing looks like, but for now this will have to do.
Well, that was pretty awesome. But Nolan, do you know what the best part was?
Besides how awesome that artist was, that was unbelievable.
You're right, Nolan. The artist was unbelievable. But the best part was that you were so distracted that I was able to steal the fancy lectern.
How could you?
Well, I know it wasn't very nice of me, but I couldn't let those lessons I learned after kick-in go to waste.
You're sneaky, Gerbrandt. I'll give you that. Tell you what, we'll settle this the old-fashioned way. With a sing-off. 2 of your songs versus 2 of mine.
All right, Taylor, you're on. But who's gonna judge it?
Well, our audience, of course. Let us know who you think should win between Alyssa or me in the comments down below.
Sounds good to me. But we are going to need a pianist. Someone who's impartial. Someone we've worked with before. Who could it be?
Hey guys, hi!
Very nice to have.
Oh, hi! I was just making a new hymnal. Decided I'd make some cookies and bring you some.
Oh my gosh, well, Marilyn, you showed up just in the nick of time. We're about to have a sing-off, and we need an accompanist. Would you do us the honor?
I would be delighted.
Oh, marvelous. Well, I'll go first, Alyssa, seeing as how you've had a major lapse in ethical judgment already.
Yeah, go ahead.
And let's make this interesting. The loser also has to do kitchen duty. Right, Dean?
Yeah, sure.
Shall we?
I am so thrilled to be returning to the stage that started this whole crazy journey in singing for me.
I made my debut right here on this stage in The Music Man. I wasn't even in school here at MCI when I made my MCI musical debut. I was a 6th grader living in Altona when my backdoor neighbor and the then choir director, Rick Hepner-Mueller, tapped me on the shoulder to say, "Do you want to play some band instruments in The Music Man?" And of course I said yes, and I joined an incredible cast right here on the Buehler Hall stage, with Johannu Batha appearing as Harold Hill. And Marilyn, remind me, who was Miss Peru in that musical production?
It was Kirsten.
It was Kirsten Ham, Marilyn's daughter. And I got to know a lot of the local boys who were also in that show, and years later we would go on to start our own schooling here at MCI, playing sports together, serving on student council, and winning MCI's only provincial banner championship in volleyball in our senior year. So in honor of the musicals that have made my life so amazing, I thought I'd share one from one of my favorite musicals. This is Maria from West Side Story. The most beautiful sound I ever heard. Maria, 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 Maria. All the beautiful sounds of the world in a single word. Maria, 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 Maria. I've just met a girl named Maria, and suddenly that name will never mean the same to me. Maria, I've just kissed a girl named Maria, and suddenly I found how wonderful a sound can be. Maria, say it loud and there's music playing. Say it soft and it's almost like praying. Maria, I'll never stop saying Maria. It's almost like praying. Maria, I'll never stop saying Maria. The most beautiful sound I ever heard.
For some reason, I had a really hard time picking repertoire for this concert. And then it dawned on me that there is no real audience here, so I can do whatever I want. And what I want to do is sing weird Canadian repertoire. In my master's degree, I had a colleague describe my performance style as whimsical. I'm not entirely sure whether or not that was a compliment, but I loved it. And I've now decided that my brand is whimsical. I think that this first song really fits into that theme. This song was written by the composer John Weinsweig, and in this song, a person is working at home and gets distracted by a bird outside their window. And I think this is really relatable content for everyone who's stuck at home working right now. So without further ado, I Heard by John Weinsweig. I heard, I think it was I heard, it did not move. I heard, it looked at me. I heard. For my second piece today, I thought I'd explore a different Canadian composer, R. Murray Schafer. This piece was written right after World War II, and the poem describes a tree that stands alone in a square in the middle of Berlin. This tree stands and flourishes despite the wreckage that surrounds it. This song reminds me that there will be a time after this, and that we will hope and we will grow, and that life will keep going. So without further ado, Die Papel vom Karlsplatz by R. Murray Schafer. Eine Papel steht am Karlsplatz, mitten in der Trümmerstadt Berlin. Und wenn die Leute gehen über den Karlsplatz, sehen sie ihr freundlich grün. In dem Winter 46 froren die Menschen und das Holz war rar. Und es viele, viele Bäume und es fehlte letztes Jahr. Doch die Babel dort am Karlsplatz zeigt uns heute noch ihr grünes Blatt. Seid bedankt und bonne vom Karlsplatz. Dass man sie immer noch hat.
Okay, so clearly I've got to turn up the heat here, and my next piece comes to us from good old Italy and the composer Rossini. You might know Rossini from works like the William Tell Overture and the opera The Barber of Seville with the classic na da 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 da. Well, this is another piece that's sort of like that one. It's a patter song. It's full of silly little words, including words for strumming a guitar. It's an onomatopoeic word, which just mimics the sound of me hitting strings. And it's going to require me to do a bit of dancing. Mr. Dean, is it okay if I do some dancing?
As long as there's Bible space.
Good enough. We'll do our best. This is La Danza, the dance.
salterà, l'ora è bella per danzare che una mona monterà. Già la luna in mezzo a mare, mamma mia, si salterà, l'ora è bella per danzare che una mona monterà. Già la luna in mezzo a mare, mamma mia, si salterà, presto in danzo a tondo, tondo, donne mie, venite qua, un canzon bello e gioconda a ciascuna toccherà, finché certi una stella e la luna splenderà, il più bel con la più bella tutta notte danzerà. Mamma mia, già la luna in mezzo a mare, mamma mia, si salterà, fricchi, 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 mamma mia, si salterà. Fricchi, 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 mamma mia, si salterà. La 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 la, 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 la 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 la. Salta, gira, gira, ogni coppia cerco va, già s'avanza, si ritira e alla salto tornerà. Salta, salta, gira, gira, ogni coppia cerco va, già s'avanza, si ritira e alla salto tornerà. Già s'avanza, si ritira e la salto tornerà. Sera, sera, con la blonda, con la bruna va quella, con la rossa vai seconda, con la sporta fermo sta. Viva il ballo, tondo, tondo, suonerà sulla bascia, e il più bel piacere del mondo, la più cara voluta. Mamma mia, già la luna in mezzo a mare, mamma mia, si salterà. Fricchi, 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 mamma mia, si salterà. Fricchi, 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 mamma mia, si salterà. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la.
Since everything shut down, I've been having a really hard time motivating myself to practice. So when I was trying to pick the final piece I was going to sing in this concert, I was going over all of my big opera arias, and nothing really felt right. So then I came across a binder filled with all of my old musical theater rep, and I just had so much fun singing through all of it again. So I've decided to sing one of my very favorite musical theater pieces. And almost exactly 10 years ago, Marilyn and I performed this piece on this stage. And that was a really pivotal moment in my life. That was the moment where I decided that I wanted to be a musician. And I can't say enough how much the teachers and the community at this school gave me the strength to follow that dream. So this song is not serious. It's very silly, but it was an important song for me and continues to be an important song. So here's Popular from what is still my favorite musical, Wicked. Whenever I see someone less fortunate than I, and let's face it, who isn't less fortunate than I, my tender heart tends to start to bleed. And when someone needs a makeover, I simply have to take over. I know exactly what they need. And even in your case, though it's the toughest case I've yet to face, don't worry, I'm determined to succeed. Follow my lead, and yes, indeed, you will be popular. You're gonna be popular. I'll teach you the proper poise when you talk to boys, little ways to flirt and flounce. Oh, I'll show you what shoes to wear, how to fix your hair, everything that really counts to be popular. I'll help you be popular. You'll hang with the right cohorts. You'll be good at sports. Know the slang you've got to know. So let's start, 'cause you've got an awfully long way to go. Don't be offended by my frank analysis. Think of it as personality dialysis. Now that I've chosen to become a palace sister and advisor, there's nobody wiser, not when it comes to popular. I know about popular, and with an assist from me to be who you'll be, instead of dreary who you were, well, are. There's nothing that can stop you from becoming popular. Lar? La, 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 la. We're gonna make you popular. When I see depressing creatures with unprepossessing features, I remind them on their own behalf to think of celebrated heads of state or especially great communicators. Did they have brains or knowledge? Don't make me laugh. They were popular. Please, it's all about popular. It's not about aptitude, it's the way you're viewed. So it's very shrewd to be very, very popular, like me. And though you protest your disinterest, I know clandestinely you're gonna grin and bear it to your newfound popularity. Oh. La, 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 la. You'll be popular, just not quite as popular as me.
All right, so clearly I have to concede defeat after an amazing version of Popular by Alyssa, and so now she will retain the lectern for the rest of the concert, and I will have to do kitchen duty as well. I'll have to refigure out where those aprons are, I guess. But as a consolation prize, I hope that you enjoy this rendition of the hymn, There Is a Balm in Gilead. And while I'm singing it, I hope you also enjoy the amazing montage of visual artists that we also have put together for you. And this is a hymn dedicated to healing and to hope. Obviously, we're thinking about people who are struggling with the current realities of the COVID-19 pandemic, but also we're thinking about people in Nova Scotia who've endured an unimaginable tragedy, so our hearts are with them as well. With that, this is There Is a Balm in Gilead.
Thank you to the visual artists who contributed to the gallery that you just saw. Next, we're going to hear our first guest musician, and for the rest of the concert, the musicians will be introducing themselves and the artworks they're presenting.
Hello, I'm Emily Hildebrand, and I have selected a clip from my college senior recital to share with you today because I was unable to record something fresh due to social distancing. In this clip, I am performing Henry Purcell's Bess of Bedlam, which depicts a woman, Bess, who is descending into madness as she mourns the death of her love. This piece has become one of my absolute favorites to sing on the basis that it is simply so much fun. And so I hope you have fun listening to it.
From silent shades and Elysian grove, where sad departed spirits mourn their loves, from crystal streams and from that country where doves crown the fields with flowers
Nolan, I think right now would be a really good moment to remind the audience why we're here today.
You mean it wasn't just to watch us fighting over a lectern?
Shockingly, no.
Huh. Well, let's see. We have seen some incredible artists so far.
That's true. We've seen some really incredible artists. But there is another reason why we're here today.
Well, we've also got to interact with our amazing audience.
Also true, and I'm super excited to see all of the comments, which I'm sure are flooding in.
Yeah.
But there's still another reason.
Lectern fight, artists, audience. It's for the donations.
Correct. This is a fundraiser. And what exactly are we raising money for?
It's for MCI's general fund.
It is. And we thought it might be fun if you saw a little bit of what is involved in the general fund.
Each year, MCI spends between $12,000 and $14,000 on water. Your donations help to keep teenagers smelling great.
Last year, we spent over $65,000 keeping the kitchen running. Your donations help keep the food nutritious and delicious.
Each year, MCI spends $15,000 to $25,000 on sports. That includes transportation, equipment, and paying the referees. That's all what it takes to keep Blues athletics winning games.
MCI spends $60,000 on repairs and maintenance every year. Every dollar counts.
Each year, MCI spends around $30,000 on transportation costs, including keeping this big guy on the road. Fun fact, the MCI bus broke down on Alyssa and I while we were on choir tour in our grade 12 year, and a few weeks later on our grad trip. So we know just how far those donation dollars go to keep transportation going.
Hello. Yes, we will accept your donation. MCI spends $7,000 every year on its phone system, and that's just so we can answer your calls. Each year, MCI spends just over $1 million on salaries, and that's what it takes to keep a really great team.
Standing here amongst these empty seats, I'm reminded of the support that a place like Buehler Hall and MCI as a whole has given me over the years. And I'm reminded that in any other year, I'd be looking forward to sitting right here watching another fabulous MCI concert. We are, of course, saddened that we can't gather again this year, but we take comfort in the fact that we can still connect through amazing technology. I'm also reminded of the people that this place currently supports, the students who are at MCI right now. And so, while I go and do my kitchen duty, let's hear from a few of those students.
All right, so, this is really fun to be in conversation with each of you. It feels very weird to be doing this on a TV screen instead of face-to-face, but I appreciate the fact that you are willing to join us for this conversation. With us today, I'm going to do the introductions. Feel free to wave if you want. I think it'll just be easier. So we have Max Wientz, who's in grade 12, currently at MCI. We have Andrew Heidi in the middle, who is in grade 10 here at MCI, first year. Carrie Chen in grade 11. Julie Klippenstein, also in grade 11. And Brianna Neufeld in grade 12. So once again, thanks for joining us. We're so happy you're with us. Max, what has it been like being at home, learning from home? What's it been like trying to do schoolwork from a distance and not in a classroom? What's that experience been like?
It's a little hard
at first it was a little hard to get used to, but after like the first couple of weeks, you just kind of get into a rhythm.
What is one of those new rhythms that you've had to get into? You no longer have me getting you up for breakfast, which you appreciate, but are your parents getting you up for breakfast?
Well, no, it's pretty relaxed. Just wake up whenever, go online, check what you got to do that day, and get it done, basically. It's pretty relaxed.
Nice. Curious, Max, is there one specific thing that you've maybe learned, whether it be about yourself or a new appreciation for school or something you miss about school? Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure everyone is feeling this, but like I'm missing the social aspect of school in a way. It's kind of bored just by yourself and your family all the time.
Andrew, I'm going to jump over to Andrew. Maybe we'll come back to you, Max. What's it been like where you live? You're maybe a little further away from a lot of things. You've got probably a bigger yard than a lot of us have access to. You are far from the cities. What is it like being at home and trying to do school when you've got a playground in your backyard?
It's definitely, like, they had its ups and downs for sure. Like, say if you live in the city, then there's so much more precautions that you would have to take. But like here, I can go outside, I can do my work outside if I really want to. I can, I don't know, go dirt bike, I can do any, like, there's just so much that I can do. But then at the same time, you also feel more isolated just because there's no one around you and you can't see that social aspect anymore. It's all online.
So is there, like, I mean, don't get me wrong, most of you aren't a fan of me when I talk about social media and phones and connection. Funny, now you can all laugh at me because that's the only way we can connect. I'm curious, has it changed the way in which you use connecting on your phones? Do you feel like, is the connecting, whether it be Snapchat or Messenger, or whatever you're using to connect, do you feel like you're using it differently than you would have used it, say, a month ago?
I'd say I almost take it a little bit more seriously, like, because you don't have like that physical contact where you're talking to someone or like something happens and you just, like in a classroom per se, and you talk about it. But like when you're at home and everyone, say in my class, we all get the same assignments, but you only really, when you're actually talking to them, there's like a point to it. Like you're asking about question number 5 or like something that's other than just blank pictures that you're sending on Snapchat or something. It seems like there's almost a little bit more purpose to it because that's how you're actually connecting with these people because you don't see them day to day.
Oh, cool. Thanks, Andrew. Again, we may come back. We'll bounce back a little bit. Carrie, I'm wondering, for you, this is a very different experience than many others. Everybody else, we sent home, and they had to go home. In your case, you had to go to someone else's house. You don't get to be with your family. What has it been like for you trying to figure out this norm of living in someone else's house who I think want you to be a part of their family? Like they feel like they care for you like their own kid, but yet for you, you're not at home. What has that felt like?
Like I feel like I mean, it's different than in the house with the real parents, but they really take good care of me for like living in another house, because most of the house family I feel was like I'm just a guest or I'm just another person to live in your house, but my house family was really treat me like I'm their kids. But yeah, still a little bit different, but I feel like they treat me very well.
And how have you stayed connected to home? How are your parents feeling with you living like not with them? And like, what does that feel like not being able to go home?
At first, I was like really feel really sad, like I can't go home because there's no tickets, no flight anymore. So like I was talking to my parents like, hey, I can't come home, like I might never come home this whole summer. You guys need to prepare it. And my dad just say, it's okay. Like you just stay there. It's better. It's really dangerous on the way back home. I want you to be safe like that. And also my dad said, if you come back, you might just no food to eat.
Really? So it's really hard at home for your family right now?
No. It's just like because I go home, I will just go hang out with my friends and eat lots of food. But like they just think, hey, you just stay there. That's okay. If you come home, you will give us lots of troubles because you will eat a lot.
That's funny. No, that's good. Thanks, Carrie. Julie, I'm also curious during this season, what has it been like trying to figure out ways to connect? Like this is so different now. What has that felt like? Have you felt distant? Has that felt really hard? Have you felt alone? And what has it been like trying to get creative with connection?
I've been doing lots of like texting my friends and FaceTiming and stuff like that. So it's more just the physical contact that's missing, not like talking to them in person. And it's harder if you think of something you want to tell them, you can't just go tell them. You have to call them or text them. And there's more of a, like, not a barrier, but it's less instant. So that's been kind of hard to have to figure out ways to still feel that contact.
Do you feel like in any way this will or might change the way in which you connect, like after this is all said and done? Are there things that you feel like you might have taken for granted or just seem normal that you just can't wait and will change the way in which you interact with people?
I'll probably appreciate being in the presence of people more because now it's been a month basically without much contact. So I'll probably not take it as for granted as I did before.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thanks, Julie. Brianna, I think one of the things I'm very curious for you has been, I mean, for you, you've lived in Gretna for a number of years, and then when school started at the beginning of the year, you moved into dorm because your mom was moving to Winnipeg for school. And so all of a sudden the school closes and now home has to be Winnipeg. And I believe you're in an apartment, pretty locked up, not a whole lot of places, you're in Winnipeg. How has that been? Like what's that feel, how have you felt in that move to what's supposed to be home?
It's way different. There's a lot, like my older sister just moved out. She's in Altona right now. She's working at the hut. And so I'm in her room. I spend a lot of time going for walks. I've gotten lost a couple of times in Winnipeg. It's a lot of exploring. Just trying to figure out where I am.
I'm curious how this has affected you. Like, has it maybe made you feel more creative in the ways you connect, or has it just felt hard and still figuring out how to manage that? Those are maybe two extremes, but.
It's more difficult to connect with friends. Like if I were in Gretna still, I would be able to drive to Altona to see my friend or whoever's in Altona, or even my aunt and uncle who live in Gretna. But in Winnipeg, it's harder to connect. So I have been like FaceTiming a lot more. I never used to use FaceTime until this all started. Like never.
Nice. What's it been like? So you're in grade 12, student body president, and at this point you've lost a month and a half of your time here at MCI and living in dorm, which was exciting, I think. How does that feel? Like, how are you reconciling the missing out on some of that, or how are you carrying some of that?
It's much more difficult. I expected to spend my grade 12 year with my grade 12 friends. We spend a lot of time, like I text my friends all the time asking, hey, when this is all over, we should go on a road trip or plan to go visit some abandoned houses throughout Manitoba because we're trying to make up for lost time.
Yeah. Max, I'm curious. Thanks, Brianna. Max, I'm curious for you also, as being in grade 12, your last year here, last year was your first year, so grade 11 and 12. are the years you were going to spend here, and now you've missed much of March, all of April, and we're not sure exactly what May and June are going to look like. What does that feel? How are you wrestling with that?
Yeah, it really sucks because, like, we're getting, as grade 12s, we're getting to the point where, like, we put in all this hard work, and now, like, we slowly get to relax and, like, have some fun. But now that we can't really do that, and it's a lot of unknown variables right now, like, we don't know what's going to happen. So it's hard to deal with that in a way. Like, we don't know if we're going to have it. It's going to be unusual, to say the least. But I mean, I hope, like, it will get better, but it will just be hard. It's getting hard to just be optimistic about what's going to happen because you've lost so much time already.
No, fair. Thanks, Max. I'm going to ask this question. I'll maybe point out who can, in what order we can talk, but it's two final questions, and I'll ask them together, and each of you can answer. One is pretty simple. What's the first thing you're going to do when they say it's completely safe, you can see your friends, or you can see who you want to see? Part one. And part two, in this season of feeling stuck or feeling confined, what is it that's giving you joy, or what's giving you hope, or are you finding, what's keeping you singing, essentially, is the question. So some of you will have more time to think about that than others. I'm going to start with Julie, if that's all right, because you're closest to me at the moment. So, yeah.
I think the first thing I'm going to do is just see all my friends all together at the same time and not have to stay 6 feet apart and just hang out with them and catch up. And then for what's bringing me joy, probably just that there are ways to be in contact with people and I'm not completely alone. Like, even if I can't be with people, I can FaceTime or I can text and I can still contact the ones I want to contact, even if it's a very different way.
Probably along the same lines as Julie. I'm probably going to see a lot of the people that I missed, probably going to hang out with some buddies and just get all caught up together because we haven't seen each other in a long time. Yeah, and what's keeping me optimistic is knowing that, like, this will pass and we will get through this. And I'm just glad that we took care of the situation before it got a lot worse than it did.
After we open, if I might just tell my parents, like, hey, I can fly home, and also, like, I need to do homework because I know then reopen means I need to finish all the homework I haven't finished before. And which brings a joy for me, like, in this kind of like do lots of things alone and kind of like know lots of stuff that say I never done before, but now stay at home I still can do something like baking, but I never touched before, but like I succeed. Like, lots of stuff makes me joy.
Yeah, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go see my friends. I'm driving hours to go and see my friends. That's the biggest thing. Something keeping me optimistic is, well, I like to go outside, so I've been spending a lot of time outside or looking outside because I've got a big window. And yeah, knowing that it's going to be over at some point. This isn't a forever thing.
I'm probably it doesn't really matter who it is. First person I see, probably gonna get a really big hug. And then it doesn't really matter what I do as long as me and all my friends are together, because that's really what matters right now. And the thing that keeps me joyful is just those little moments, like even if you're 6 feet apart, but just seeing people and talking to them, and just, yeah, even if you're not like doing what you normally do, at least you know that you're in this together and that you will get through this.
Cool. Well, thank you very much, Andrew. And thank you, everyone, for joining us and sharing just a little bit of your experience and your wisdom. Yeah, we wish we could be with you as well. So thank you.
Hi, my name is Jessie Weeb. I'm currently in grade 11 at MCI, and I'm excited to be singing Have You Ever Seen the Rain by Creedence Clearwater Revival for you today. I hope you enjoy.
Someone told me long ago, there's a calm before the storm. I know it's been coming for some time. When it's over, so they say, it'll rain a sunny day. I know, shining down like water. I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain? I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain? Coming down on a sunny day. Yesterday and days before, sun is cold and rain is hard. I know, been that way for all of my time. Till forever on it goes, through the circle fast and slow. I know, and it can't stop, I wonder. I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain? I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain? Coming down on a sunny day. I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain? I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain? Yeah, coming down on a sunny day.
Hi everyone, I'm Jill Hildebrand and I'm so excited and honored to be part of MCI's Spring Fundraiser this year. I'm an MCI alumni of 1992. I'm also a parent of 2 graduating students and a current student now in grade 10. What brings me hope and joy within this piece is represented by the 2 photos that I've shared on it. One is of our church at Crystal City Mennonite, and the other is of students and staff at MCI. There's no doubt in my heart that my hope is built on my faith. My faith is what shapes my character, my heart, my decisions, the way I even talk to people. There's also no doubt that my hope is shaped by people in my life, especially the staff and the students that I have recently met at MCI these past few years. The kids don't even know it. They're impacting my life in a way that is unimaginable. They think that I just kind of have to be there because I'm a volunteer or I'm a parent or I'm a substitute teacher. They think that I'm just having to be nice to them because that's my job. But truly, it is them who are giving me a sense of purpose and hope every single time I walk into that building. Youth today are driven. They're so determined. They're actually smarter than I was in high school. And they are what my future is counting on. Why shouldn't I have hope in them? Of course I should. So, that being said, my faith in God and my faith and hope in the youth today, whether they're making me smile or cry or shake my head or roll my eyes maybe or laugh with them. It's these two things that I know with no uncertainty that my life is going to be filled with never-ending joy and hope.
Whew. Thank goodness that's done.
Feels really good to put your feet up after a long day of hosting.
Especially with Marilyn's cookies.
Cheers.
Hey slackers, you're not in uniform. Get back to hosting.
Oh no. Well, while we're changing, how about you listen to a few more singer-songwriters?
Hi, my name is Mike Wiebe, and I graduated from MCI in 2011, and I'm very much looking forward to sharing a song with you today. The song I've chosen is called Letters from my new musical project, Winter Hour. The Letters is basically about faith formation and the different ways that we make church in our lives. The first half of the song follows theologian Thomas Merton and kind of imagines him and the way that he experiences his faith. And then I contrast that in the second verse where I talk about a group of young people who gather together for an evening of fellowship. It's kind of indirect. We just gather, and when we gather, God is there. So there's a line in the second verse that goes, slow-pitch champs and a younger church. And those slow-pitch champs and that younger church are created just by being together and in us knowing that God is there with us. So that's what Letters is about, and I hope you enjoy. The original notation is for cello and for voice and piano, and sadly I do not have a cello with me today, so I hope that in its absence you can still enjoy it to the full.
Pre-dawn, snow falls. There isn't any one thing on your mind. You gather fuel for abbey fires, finding the beginning of love for Sister Winter, brushing her tears from your shoulders in the door to your hideaway. In the darkness of morning that's long been with us, you wait for the sun and write letters for your friends. Meanwhile in Winnipeg, Christmas lights and bikes lock to the trees. Slow-pitch champs in a younger church, finding the beginning of love for Sister Winter, perfectly herself, letting the yokes from our shoulders in the den of her hideaway. In the darkness of night that's just come to meet us, there's another one here. There's another one here. There's another one here. The one you mentioned in each of your letters.
The song that I chose to perform is called Looking Back, and I picked this song because it's one of my favorites that I have, and it's also the first song that I wrote for an album that I've been working on. The song means a lot to me because it encompasses a lesson that I feel has been important in my life over the last 2 years especially, but continues to be relevant even now. But it reminds me to kind of check in myself and also acknowledge where I'm at so I can, learn to be gracious with myself as I learn some of life's tougher lessons, and ultimately become a better version of myself. But the song is about keeping an open mind and learning from past selves or versions of yourself.
You may be surprised looking back on life. You stopped asking why and started telling lies. Stripped of your curiosity, nothing new, it's a sight to see. Take a few steps back, baby. Oh, where are the good ways? Think about what makes you wise. Listening close and you will find all of the answers you left behind. Well, you think of me, but almost never. But knowing me would make it better. I'll always be the girl forever. Yeah. You tried to ignore me, but we'll be tethered. My memories lingering, perspectives changing, body is aging, patience is waning, but you can always find room inside your mind. Think a little deeper inside. You make me surprised by how much more you can do when you look from another view. Start to make sense of all the answers floating around you. Only then you knew. Moving past this life into the next. Savor this breath 'cause the old you has left. I think of you, but almost never. Knowing you has made me better. You'll always be the girl forever. I tried to ignore you, but we are tethered by memories lingering, perspectives changing, bodies aging, patience is waning, memories lingering, perspectives changing, bodies aging, patience is
Now that we're back in uniform, we can head back to the concert.
This fits exactly the same way it did 8 years ago.
Clearly.
Hey!
listening to these amazing singer-songwriters brings me back to another amazing part of my MCI experience, all the talent shows.
We saw some really cool talent shows. One of my personal favorites was the Menno Miami remix.
I think we actually have a clip of that.
You look kinda cute in that long summer dress, girl. Here's what I wanna do. Make sure your friends approve of me. Take you out, have a good time, have you home by night. That's how our date will go.
That was the comedic stylings of Derek Deep Freeze Friesen and Eric Tip Thompson, graduates of 2010.
You know, Eric and I were a part of a little-known sports team here at MCI. It was an inter-school dodgeball tournament that happened in the year 2010. It was against our rivals down the road, W.C. Miller in Altona. And you know what? I think we still have some of those uniforms. I'll be right back.
Well, while Nolan goes and does whatever he's going to do, how about we go check out some more artist submissions?
Good evening. My name is Esther Hildebrandt, and I'm an abstract artist from a small southern town in Manitoba named Crystal City. I began painting right after my husband and I moved into town from the farm, and I wanted new and more modern decor for our new home, and so I began exploring the art world. Abstract art has always captured my attention, and I believe the reason for this is that when I'm creating a piece of art, I don't have to be restricted to making it into a recognizable shape or form. I can use color, balance, energy, and motion to create a piece. The piece that I have chosen to use for this event is not necessarily my latest piece. However, I felt that it was one which could have much meaning during this epidemic and isolation experience. Abstract art is always interpretive, and every viewer will have a different interpretation. So I'm going to speak from a personal perspective on this piece. When I painted it last fall, I named it Sunset. I'm not sure what I would name it today because times are very different this spring than they were last fall had I just painted this last week. However, the red to me represents the raging virus overhead. Not only that it's the virus, but the fears and the fact that regardless of how we try to overcome and not dwell on what's happening out there in the world, it still looms overhead. And so the red right across the top to me represents that part. The black sections convey the turmoil and the deaths that unfortunately have occurred. However, there are breaks in those sections, such as here, here, and over in here. For me, they're meaning that there are bits of good things happening as well during our isolation. Family ties possibly growing stronger, humanity being more unified in a common goal, and so on. In the black sections, you also have sprinklings of warm color, oranges, reds, yellows, blues, and so on. Bits of color that are warm and representing possibly the frontline healthcare workers, the people who really care, the ones that are working themselves to the bone. The symbols of writing always cause people to ask me, what are you saying? What are you writing? What does that mean? And my response to those questions is always, you can make that message whatever you want it to be for you. And so my feeling in this particular time would be that these could be messages of hope. These are messages of encouragement to hang in there. This will all be over eventually someday. And when you watch all this turmoil going down in the middle, and when you come through it and everything settles down, it comes into a place of calmness and light. There is a gentle flow towards it, and there is a settlement of peace.
Thank you so much to all of our visual artists. If you're interested in following any of them on social media, you can find links to their social handles in the description below. You can also find a link to donations in the description below.
Liz, look, I found it. I found the airport.
Nolan, we're about to end this concert. What in the world are you wearing?
This is the dodgeball uniform I was talking about before. This is gonna go great for the finale.
No, absolutely not. We have another song to sing.
Fine, go change. But I found a second one, and you and I could be a team.
No.
Oh, come on, it'd be so much.
No.
Fine, go change. Never let me do anything fun.
Tenors. While we wait for Nolan to change, how about we hear a few more singer-songwriters?
Hello, I'm Scott Dick. I'm from LaSalle, Manitoba, and graduated MCI in 2018. The song I'm sharing with you today is called Carry On. It's a piece I wrote a couple of years ago in a bit of a time when I lost a couple of grandparents within a matter of months, and was just, I had a lot on my plate. It was also my first year of university at that point. And so it's a little bit how kind of God helped me carry on. Even though things were really hard, I could knock on his door and he'd open up anytime, and I could go to talk to him anytime. And in that season, I spent a lot of time kind of isolating myself. And now we're in another season of isolation where that can be pretty tough, especially for someone who struggles with depression or anxiety. You get a little stuck with yourself for a little too long sometimes, and so I hope this song can be an encouragement to you. Enjoy. I don't know what's in store for tomorrow, but tomorrow's got worries of its own. Though I walk through this life of mystery, I know I don't go it alone. So I come to your door and I knock once or twice, 'cause I know that you let me in. Though the storm rages on, you're my rock, you're my light. You help me carry on. So we sit and we talk for hours and hours about life and the wonders it holds. And you look past the scars that cover my feet when the wolves have caught my heels. So I come to your door and I knock once or twice, 'cause I know that you let me in.
Though the storm rages on, you're my ride, you're my light. You help me carry on. You help me carry on. Oh, you light past the skies, it cover my feet when the wolves have caught my heels. Though the storm rages on, you're my rock, you're my light. You help me carry on. Yeah, you help me carry on. Yeah, you help me carry on.
Hi, my name is Annika Marie, and I work at MCI as a dean in the dorm, and I'm also an alumni. I graduated in 2014. And today I'm going to be playing a song for you guys. It's one of my own songs that I wrote called Honey. And the reason I chose to perform it is it's just kind of an uplifting song about holding the people that are closest to you near and telling them you love them. And I think that's very important in this time, even if your loved ones aren't near to you and you can't be near them. I think we need to draw closer together rather than farther apart. And that's what's going to keep us strong through this time and keep us connected as a community. So this is Honey.
Could we sit in a silent state? Other words will have to wait. Could we dance the night away with no music being played? Would you draw me close until I drift away? Is that okay? You're sweet as honey on my lips. You're as bright as the sun streaming in. Oh, my heart is cold, it needs some warmth. If you'll just wrap me in your arms. Oh, just this once. You would hear what I'm trying to say. There's no guessing in this game. New adventures come my way, different colors every day. And when the rain it falls, I'll softly hear you say, just enjoy the gray. Oh, you're sweet as honey on my lips. You're as bright as the sun streaming in. Oh, my heart is out, it's on my sleeve. Don't think I could bear to watch you leave. stopping right at you. I've never known what I should do, but I wanna see it through. If my math is right, then 1 and 1 makes 2. Could that be true? You're sweet as honey on my lips. You're as bright as the sun streaming in. Oh, my heart is cold, your heart is warm. Think that I'll wrap you in my arms. Oh, just this once.
We want to thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for your donations. Your donations are what allow this school to stay open. Your donations provide an opportunity for the students here to grow and thrive in this supportive environment. We also want to thank all of the artists who donated their time and who sent in videos. We truly appreciate it.
We also want to thank the MCI team for all the work they have put in to making this possible. This event is unlike anything we have ever put on, and their creativity and hard work was absolutely phenomenal. Thanks especially to Christina Bandman, Harold Schlegel, Heather Hildebrandt, Kayla Gerbrandt, Marnie Miro-Friesen, and Paul Peters.
And an extra special thanks to Golden Hour, Kelvin Dahlke, and Zach Gerbrandt for putting in so many hours for filming and editing in order to make this project possible.
We have another project that we would love for you to be a part of. If at any point during this concert you thought to yourself, hey, I can do better than those clowns up there, now is your chance to prove it. We are assembling a virtual mass choir for Zengafest, which is just around the corner.
That's a really cool idea. What piece are we doing?
Well, as luck would have it, it's the classic hymn, How Can I Keep From Singing?
What a coincidence!
Right? If you would like to be involved, you can contact MCI's choir director, Christina Bandman, at Christina Bandman, all one word, at mciblues.net. There will be more information about this coming out in the coming days, so stay tuned to MCI's social media channels.
For our final piece of the evening, Nolan and I are going to perform Make Our Garden Grow. This piece was our original inspiration for this concert.
It is originally intended to be sung with a huge ensemble and an even bigger choir. Now, obviously, we won't be able to do that for you in this concert, but the sentiment of the piece to help MCI's garden continue to grow and to flourish, nurturing new followers of Christ in their walk of faith, still rings true, even through social distancing. Please enjoy Make Our Garden Grow.
But before we sing, here is the MCI's Executive Director, Harold Schlegel, with a word of prayer.
Please join me in prayer. Thank you, dear God, for all we have experienced this evening, for the rollicking fun that is the hallmark of MCI community. Thank you for the deep and long-standing friendships that have been formed in this place. Thank you for the stunning articulation of visual artistry and for the beautiful strains of vocal expression. Thank you for your Spirit's work at MCI through nearly 130 years, drawing young people closer to you, preparing them for lives of service and leadership at home, in the church, in local communities, and around the world. Above all, thank you for the faith in Jesus Christ that sustains us. Tonight we join in the words penned by Robert Lowry in his beloved hymn. No storm can shake my inmost calm, while to that rock I'm clinging. Since love is Lord of heaven and earth, how can I keep from singing? Amen.
Been a fool, and so have I, but come and be my wife, and let us try before we die to make some sense of life. We're neither pure nor wise nor good. We'll do the best we know. We'll build our house and chop our wood and make our garden grow and make our garden grow.
I thought the world was sugar cake, for so our master said. But now I'll teach my hands to bake our love of daily bread.
We're neither pure nor wise nor good. We'll do the best we know. We'll build our house and chop our wood and make our garden grow and make our garden grow. Let dreamers dream what worlds they please. Those islands can't be found. The sweetest flowers, the fairest trees are grown in solid ground. We're neither pure nor wise nor good. We'll do the best we know. We'll build our house and chop our wood and make our garden grow and make our garden
Thank you for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you back here soon.